Pause for a moment and take a deep breath. Before scrolling further, give yourself complete quiet to absorb this, because it is no coincidence that you are here at this exact moment. The universe does not make mistakes. Even digital systems, seemingly cold and mechanical, often respond to the energy patterns created by your focus. There are moments in life when the heart perceives something long before the mind can understand or explain it logically. This is undoubtedly one of those crucial moments. You are here because, despite your doubts and the endless questions spinning in your mind, wondering if this person is thinking of you, if something remains unresolved, or if the connection is truly over, something significant has already shifted on a spiritual level. This change was not delivered through a conversation, a text, or an obvious sign in your surroundings. It occurred internally, quietly, in a place you could not see, a choice made on the other side, in silence. You are hearing this now because your spirit needs clarity about what this unseen shift means for your journey. For days, weeks, or perhaps months, you may have felt a strange heaviness in your chest, a subtle unease you couldn't fully name. It feels as though something is forming, as if you are waiting for a message that never comes, sensing that the story is not over yet not progressing either. This sensation, the tightness in your throat, the sudden waking in the middle of the night, is not a sign of weakness, nor a product of your imagination. There is a silence that carries far more weight than any loud word. When the soul sighs or feels restless, it is not due to emotional stress, but because it senses something the mind has yet to realize. Your energy system detects a shift in the frequency of the connection, just as a sensor can detect an object before the eyes can see it on the horizon. The person who has occupied so many of your thoughts is no longer in the confusion you once believed. They no longer harbor the doubts they once had. They no longer linger in that uncertain space where everything seems possible, yet nothing truly manifests. Perhaps there was a recent moment, a sleepless night, a period of solitude while driving or staring into space, when this person finally confronted their own emotions and chose a path forward. Here is what you must allow yourself to accept today. This choice did not arise from ego, fear of loneliness, or a desire for comfort. It came from something far deeper and older. When two souls are meant to meet and grow together, they cannot avoid their bond indefinitely. They may resist it, they may put up walls, stay physically distant, remain silent and act indifferent, but a point eventually comes when the accumulated energy can no longer be ignored. That moment has arrived. You feel this subtle energy and cautious hope because your soul is naturally intertwined with theirs. Physical distance does not diminish the connection. Time spent apart does not weaken it. What you said, or chose not to say, in the past is no longer important. There are unseen connections that cannot be destroyed by harsh words or temporary external decisions. When a decision comes from the deepest part of a person's being, the other person always senses it, even if there is no physical evidence for the mind to hold on to. This is why recently you hear their voice without any obvious reason while going about your daily routines. This is why thoughts of this person surface when you least expect them, cutting into your work or moments of rest. This is why they appear in your dreams, even when you try to calm your mind before sleeping. This is not obsession. It does not mean you are unable to move forward. It is a genuine and powerful connection. It is evidence that the channel of spiritual communication is open and active. Many people mistakenly think that destined love or soul connections are always gentle, obvious, easy, and smooth, like something from a fairy tale. But spiritual reality is quite different. Real love, the kind that transforms the inner core of those it reaches, often disrupts stability, creates inner tension, pushes one to confront their own shadow, accelerates growth, and brings old wounds back into awareness that one would prefer to hide. This person had to face all of this during their time apart. They were forced to look into the mirror of the soul without the familiar social masks they usually wear and ask themselves whether they would continue avoiding their own truth or finally find the courage to accept what they have always felt for you. You may have believed that confusion still controlled their life and that nothing had moved forward. But that is not the case. The decision has already been made, and even though you do not yet see it expressed through immediate external actions, it already exists and is active on a spiritual level. When something is deeply anchored within you, the physical world, the reality you see and touch, only needs a little time to align and reflect it. Nothing can prevent this alignment once your inner will resonates with destiny. This message is not meant to give false hope or weigh you down with pain. Its purpose is to illuminate your gut feeling, showing that certain choices are not endings, but pivotal turning points in your journey. Some choices may appear as distance from the outside, but in truth, they are setups. There is a silence similar to what you've experienced that isn't leaving you. It signals an essential inner shift. This person needed space and time to weigh the depth of what they feel for you. Ultimately, they made their decision. Now, pay attention to how your body responds as you hear this. Don't overthink it, listen to your gut. Your body does not lie, and neither does your soul. If you notice a blend of deep calm and trembling hope, it is because this news aligns with what your higher self already understood. If tears feel ready to fall, it is because a release is occurring, a valve of emotional weight opening. If a knot in your stomach begins to ease, it is because the truth is touching and healing an old wound. You are not waiting for someone who cannot choose. You are part of a sacred process, where energies are arranging themselves so that what has been decided reveals itself correctly and at the perfect time. Sometimes, this manifestation may not look exactly like the vision you held in your dreams. Sometimes, what we long for does not arrive on the schedule our impatient ego desires, but it always comes in the timing that our soul requires for growth. If you are willing to integrate this lesson into your life, write in the comments, "I am ready to receive, to understand the depth of what is unfolding, and to examine the nature of this silence that has caused me so much pain." It is easy to misunderstand the absence of contact. In a culture that moves at high speed, we often equate silence with indifference. If there is no message or call, we assume neglect or forgetfulness. Yet, in the realm of profound connections, silence can be the most meaningful form of engagement. Choosing to step back or remain distant is rarely impulsive. It is rarely a sudden decision or a fleeting whim. It is usually the outcome of a long, quiet, and frequently solitary internal struggle, a tension between what the heart desires and what the disciplined mind believes is necessary for survival. For an extended period, this person attempted to rationalize, using every logical argument to convince themselves they could move forward without looking back. They sought distractions, filled their days with work, or engaged in superficial activities to occupy empty spaces. They may have reached out to others, attempting to recreate what they shared with you. Yet, nothing could erase the persistent sense that something remained unresolved. A door remained open that could not be closed, no matter the effort. When a bond is genuine and spiritually grounded, it cannot be replaced. One can try to ignore it or drown it in activity, but its presence endures. Every failed attempt to escape, every distraction that ended with the bitter taste of emptiness, brought this person closer to an unavoidable moment of choice. Some choices don't announce themselves loudly. They don't arrive with long explanations or grand promises online. They are quietly felt in the weight of everyday life. This person began to sense the heavy burden of not being honest with themselves. They realized that their emptiness didn't come from being apart from others, but from denying their own truth. Suppressing what they felt for you drained their energy and stole their peace. Eventually, continuing to live in this lie became impossible. The effort required to restrain true love is immense. They no longer had the strength to keep pretending. Perhaps in your darkest moments, you wondered if you had done something wrong, spoken too much, been too open, or if your love had scared the other person away. Hear this clearly. Stop blaming yourself. It wasn't your intensity or your love that caused the distance. It was the other person's temporary inability to handle the depth of what they felt at that time. Some souls need time to learn how to receive what they have always longed for. Sometimes, when the gift finally arrives, fear of being unworthy or of losing it, triggers a defensive response, closing doors rather than opening them. This person had to confront deep, powerful fears: fear of losing control over their orderly life, fear of fully surrendering and becoming vulnerable, fear of repeating past heartbreaks, and fear of failing to meet the needs of this connection authentically. Amid this emotional storm, they chose to step back and take space. Not because they felt nothing, but because they felt too much. Intense emotions can be overwhelming for someone unaccustomed to them. Yet, time has a remarkable ability. It gradually sets things in order. As days and nights passed, clarity emerged. When the outside noise quiets, the inner voice becomes impossible to ignore. In that stillness, they realized that avoiding the truth did not bring the peace they sought. Delaying it only intensified guilt and a deep sense of longing. They recognized that what happened with you was not a random occurrence or a brief confusion, but a meaningful encounter that altered the course of their life. The decision they recently made is significant. It is not merely about sending a message or choosing a date. It is a life-altering choice about how they will live from now on. It reflects a commitment to stop lying to themselves and to acknowledge that some connections are not meant to be easy. They exist to transform us and break our old patterns. You were and remain the central catalyst of this change in their life. That is why you may have recently sensed a peculiar emotional fatigue, as if the need to fight has softened, as if you've released the desire to control the outcome. This weariness is not surrender. It is a sign of spiritual growth. It is your soul saying, "I have done my part. I have sent the signal. Now I trust the bigger movement." When a person stops trying to control every detail, life begins to shift in unexpected ways, resistance fades, and energy flows more freely. Do not assume that making an inner choice means that everything will suddenly be perfect or happen instantly. The path toward what is meant to be love is rarely straight. There are often slow steps and adjustments that need to happen. Yet the difference is profound when doubt is no longer present. Once the heart truly decides, the energy changes. This energy starts to move toward truth, like a river naturally flowing to the sea. Even if the mind still tries to put up walls, even while life is being sorted out, and even while dealing with the consequences of past choices, closing doors or running from situations, the person may still be gathering the courage to act on their inner decision. But they are no longer stuck in the same emotional place. They are no longer divided, no longer running aimlessly. They understand their feelings now. They have accepted them, and that acceptance changes everything. What is meant to be loved does not always arrive with complete security or guarantees. Sometimes it comes after storms, hard lessons, and painful experiences. Only by learning what is unwanted can a person truly recognize what they desire. During this time apart, both of you have grown. Even in moments of silence, growth has continued. You are no longer the person you were at the beginning. Looking back, you will notice that you have learned to trust your instincts more clearly. You have learned to establish healthy boundaries. You have realized that you do not need to plead for care because you are deserving. You have found the strength to stand on your own, even when you felt like falling. Every experience was necessary so that when your energies reconnect, it happens from a more aware, balanced, and authentic place. Nothing you experienced was wasted. Every tear, every night spent questioning, and every effort to release was part of a significant inner transformation. Now, this journey is moving into a stage where this person's choices begin to align with your personal growth. This is why your spiritual perception must recognize progress. Even if your physical senses perceive only quiet, understand that change is happening unseen before it appears in the visible world. To reach this level of clarity, this person had to confront a quiet inner struggle, a part of themselves unrelated to you, a shadow within. To truly understand why the separation occurred and what has shifted, it is crucial to consider an often overlooked aspect of relationships. It is likely that during this quiet period, you questioned yourself, believing you were insufficient or that their interest had faded. Spiritually, the truth is entirely the opposite. They did not leave because something was missing in you. They left because being with you made it impossible to continue hiding from themselves. Here, the shadow becomes visible. The shadow represents all the parts of us we have suppressed to fit in. It includes fears and hidden traits we were taught to conceal. Picture everyone carrying a hidden bag containing everything they do not want others to see. Before meeting you, this person had carefully kept that bag closed, wearing a social mask to navigate daily life. Then you appeared like a strong, illuminating light. When two people connect deeply, a mirror effect occurs. You reflected back to this person an unfiltered view of themselves. In your presence, they saw what had not been addressed in their own life. Your capacity to love revealed their fear of vulnerability. Your honesty exposed their deception. Your determination highlighted their fears. Understanding this is essential because it stops you from blaming yourself. Light can overwhelm someone who has been in darkness for a long time. Their first instinct is not gratitude, but to close their eyes and retreat back to familiar shadows. That was the case here. Their withdrawal wasn't about you personally. It was a defense mechanism. Feeling exposed and out of control, someone accustomed to control perceived your presence as a threat. That explains why the distance felt sudden and difficult to understand. They offered excuses because admitting that your love frightened them was too vulnerable. Growth occurs when hidden, dark aspects of the self are brought to awareness. That is exactly what you initiated in their life. You were the spark. Without you, they might have remained in unconscious patterns for years. Your energy accelerated their awakening. Being apart removed the ability to blame you for their struggles. In the quiet, they had to confront their own voice. The pain of separation carries deeper meaning. True love often feels uncomfortable at first. It dismantles old ego patterns to make room for the authentic self. They had to face their inner darkness alone, confront fears of abandonment, and challenge feelings of inadequacy. This internal struggle is exhausting. That is why they sometimes appeared distant or irritable. It wasn't anger directed at you, but the tension of shedding a false identity. Just as stretching muscles causes discomfort, the soul experiences pain while growing. What seemed like indifference was actually intense inner work. They were integrating the parts of themselves that you had awakened. Once this truth is recognized, it remains. After connecting with you, their old life felt hollow. Superficial conversations bored them. Shallow relationships no longer felt right. The seed you planted broke through their defenses. Helping someone become their true self is the greatest gift you can give. You push them to seek wholeness within themselves. We often assume love requires constant presence, but sometimes distance is necessary to allow a spiritual union in the future. If they had stayed together while unprepared, the relationship could have deteriorated. Distance provided a safe space to confront inner struggles without harming each other. You had to learn to release, and they had to learn to discover their truth. Now, everything has shifted because the shadow has been acknowledged. The energy once used to avoid emotions has transformed. Energy never disappears, it only changes direction. The walls have fallen, and they recognize that your light came to heal rather than harm. Fear no longer restrains them. They no longer see your love as a threat to freedom, but as the pathway to true liberation. They realize that the true prison had always been their own ego. This was a complete 180-degree shift. What once looked like danger now feels like safety. Where they wanted to escape, they now feel drawn back home. You did nothing wrong by being intense. That impact was necessary. You were the storm that cleared the atmosphere. Now, as the mind becomes calmer, a decision still remains. This choice is no longer made by a frightened child. It is a mature spirit stepping forward and taking control. This internal shift is quiet, yet powerful in the energetic realm. When someone stops resisting destiny, it creates a ripple effect. You are the primary one receiving that ripple. This is why your fear has transformed. You sense a presence even without communication. The blockage has dissolved. Emotions are now flowing toward you. Your body is the first to register this change. The unseen path that connects two souls is now transmitting information rapidly. What you have been feeling recently is evidence that the wall has fallen. Now let's discuss emotional telepathy. You may be going about a normal day when a sudden wave of sadness or happiness comes over you. Nothing external has shifted. These moments are empathic resonance. You are sensing what they are feeling in that moment. Your unexpected sadness reflects their pain from missing you. Your happiness mirrors their sense of hope. This connection becomes stronger during sleep. The dream state is where the soul communicates most clearly. If you wake up between 3 and 4 a.m., it is not by chance. This is the time when the veil is thinnest. If they are the first thought on your mind, it means their mind is reaching toward you. Dreams feel more vivid now because they are astral encounters. Before continuing, pause for a moment. If this resonates with you, ground that feeling. Go to the comments and write, "I deserve." By doing this, you signal to the universe that you are ready for love to appear in a real and tangible form. Write it with conviction. This action tells reality that you are prepared to receive what is meant for you. Now let's talk about synchronicities, meaningful coincidences that defy logic. The universe is adjusting the outer world to support the connection. Their name shows up repeatedly. Numbers appear again and again. Songs play at exactly the right moment. These are indicators that order is being restored. Your role is to remain calm and centered. The less you chase, the more easily what is approaching can reach you. What has been decided at a deeper level is never lost. It arrives at the correct time. As you move through this final phase, understand that the energy is shifting from the spiritual realm into the physical one. This stage is often the hardest because your soul senses closeness, while your eyes still observe the same familiar reality. This space between what you feel and what you see is a test of your faith. You may notice a sudden urge to reach out or feel restless energy in your hands and feet. This is simply the result of the connection fully reconnecting in your life. You are sensing the magnetic pull of two people being drawn back together after time apart. Your perspective on the past is also shifting. Events that once caused anger or sadness about this person now feel like distant memories with no power over you. This indicates that healing is complete. You no longer seek an apology or an explanation. You are simply ready for the renewed version of this relationship. This person is experiencing similar changes. They are releasing the guilt that kept them away and recognizing that their fear was only a shadow. The love they feel is real and undeniable. You might notice traces of them in everyday life. Perhaps they're sent in an unexpected place or a sudden warmth on your skin as if they were near. These are not illusions but energetic imprints. The space between you is shrinking each day. The universe is clearing the final obstacles, often practical matters like work schedules, distance, or other people stepping aside. Everything is aligning so that when you finally meet again, nothing remains hidden. Your role now is to stay open and not allow old fears to return. Avoid asking when or how, because those questions belong to the ego. The soul already knows the timing is perfect. Move through your day with quiet confidence, as someone who is already connected. Treat yourself with the love and respect you wish to receive, because the energy you give yourself signals to the other person how to treat you upon their return. The heaviness you feel is not about being stuck. It reflects the final ripening of a fruit about to fall. As energy builds, you may notice a calm stillness in your mind. This happens because the loud, frantic voice of the ego has surrendered. You are entering the soul's waiting room, a place where you no longer feel the need to chase or prove anything. In this space, the universe moves fastest. You may naturally lose interest in distractions as your spirit clears space for a high vibration encounter. Meanwhile, this person is experiencing a heart purgatory. They are reflecting on moments when fear kept them from you, recognizing the time lost. This realization gives the final push. Their focus is no longer on whether to return, but on how to do so in a way that honors the connection. They want to show up as a better version of themselves. This is why the silence may last a little longer just before the breakthrough. It is the sound of them gathering courage to be fully honest with you for the first time. You may notice that people from your past, or even new romantic interests, start appearing unexpectedly. This is a common spiritual test. The universe is checking whether you are truly ready for the deep, transformative love you've been waiting for, or if you might settle for something easier and more superficial. Stay aligned with your own frequency. Do not let these distractions pull you away from the peace you have cultivated. Your stability is actually guiding the other person back toward you. You are like a lighthouse, providing direction through a dense fog. Soon, the gap between the invisible and visible will begin to close. Often, it starts with a small, seemingly random occurrence, a like on a post, a brief neutral text, or an accidental meeting in public. These are the first drops before the emotional storm arrives. When it happens, avoid overthinking. Don't plan your response or immediately bring up past hurts. Simply remain present. The connection will communicate itself. You have done the hard work of waiting and growing, and now you are invited to observe the results. In this final stage of the shift, you may notice that even the air around you feels different. This is the stage of full alignment. You reach a point where you no longer need external signs because you have become the sign yourself. Your energy stabilizes into a frequency of knowing. This is the most magnetic state a person can achieve, a calm power that naturally draws the other person toward you. They sense your peace from afar, and it increases their desire for the safety of your presence. The person on the other side is experiencing subtle nudges from the universe. Whenever they try to focus elsewhere, your presence reappears. Whenever they attempt to move in a different direction, doors close. Their life is rearranging so that the only path left is the one leading back to you. They begin to realize that the freedom they believed they had while apart was actually a form of loneliness. They are ready to exchange their old, cold independence for the warmth of a genuine union. Notice shifts in your own energy. You may feel bursts of creativity or a strong desire to enhance your home and life. This is your soul instinctively preparing the space for their arrival. You act not out of waiting, but because you already sense abundance. Meanwhile, they are also cleaning up their life, ending old habits, leaving toxic circles, and healing their inner world. They want the reunion to be a fresh start, not a repetition of past patterns. The final barrier to fall is pride. They are letting go of the last remnants of ego, preparing the words needed to close the gap. When contact happens, it will likely be humble and sincere, signaling the beginning of a renewed connection.